So we're back. This is Man with the Horn 24. 24, right, Mike? 24. I should play a little Man with the Horn here so you remember. Okay. I practiced a little bit too much and I almost canceled today because I got a little bit of a twitch down here. I'm 65 today, as I was saying, and that's not old, but I'm not the youngest kid on the block. I remember when I first came to Germany, there was a great tune running on the radio called New Kid on the Block. I think it was from the Eagles. Just another new kid in town, which was more or less my theme song in 1978 when I first came to Germany. But that's another story altogether. I'd like to talk now a little bit about the Tromba da Caccia, which I more or less keep talking about, but never really get to explaining what I'm really about with it. This is the original handmade Tromba da Caccia that Mr. Heinz Poggensee made for me and with me. It took 3 years to develop it. It has a tuning slide in it, so I don't have to use any tuning little bits and whatever sticks things together. I can actually use this. It's the only thing that is unauthentic about it, and it's just reality because there's a lot of other problems that you need to be dealing with the natural trumpet, especially the Tromba da Caccia. So I just, can pull it out and make the intonation. The last time I tried to show some of you viewers what this was about, I had problems with the intonation. I couldn't play with the piano. It's one of the reasons that Mr. Delgado is not here today with me. Besides the fact that it's very important that one prepares before a recording and can also is ready with his part. So to make a long story short, this instrument has a changeable bell, and it's made with a changeable bell because I wasn't sure about the conicality on it. Actually, I took this natural trumpet, firstly, it's a Ager trumpet, and I had a bell made, this bell, that was curved so I could try to put my hand in it. I mean, it costs a lot of money to do research and development, and if you have to pay it all yourself, the university didn't pay anything for me. I'm not going to even get into that for the last 25, 35, almost 40 years. So it's not a question of, if you're paying for everything yourself, it's a question of what you're going to do. So this happens to be a bell-changeable instrument and allowed me to have, first of all, this bell made so I could stick it into the apparatus here and then be able to put my hand, thank you, son, put my hand in front of the bell so that it didn't, so that I could find out whether or not this idea that I had was going to work. I saw this painting, actually I saw a picture of Gottfried Reiche, and I should really get that over so everybody gets a whole good idea of that. 1 second here. Just step over here, take it from the wall. Careful now. Boy, it's covered with dust. Gottfried Reiche, this is a Kupferstich. This guy was really famous. And this painting, actually this is a Kupferstich from, what do they call it in English, Kupferstich? Copper plate, where they, it's not a wood block, it's not a wood cutting, it's made of copper, so they could print from it. And, anyway, this was originally a painting, and it is a painting, and it was supposed to be hanging in Leipzig, and I went to Leipzig and wasn't there, so I got in touch with the director of the, he said, oh, well, we got it, this needs to be renovated and whatever, and I said, well, I'd like to do a lecture about this guy. See, he was the head honcho in the Oberstaatspfeifer in Leipzig from 1719 to 1734, but he'd been playing there since he actually started studying there when in 1687 with people like Paetzel, Johann Paetzel, and then became, after staying there so long, the head man there. In any event, I wanted to learn how to play that instrument that he played because I was sure that that's the original Bach trumpet. I mean, why would Bach's trumpet player be there holding another trumpet that he didn't play himself? It's only obvious. The question is, how do you play that instrument? Well, the tradition of playing the trumpet a caccia actually comes, and that's why it's Italian, comes from Italy. And they played it in Vienna, and they played it in Bohemia also. And before I tried to explain a little bit about how the instrument works, I just want to play something from Pavel Joseph Vervanovsky, his Sonata number 4 in G minor. Sean, do you want to play a G minor chord for me on the piano?
Sure. Where is it?
An octave lower, please. Thank you. That'll be fine. I just want the listeners to understand what G minor is. G minor, G, B flat, D. These are the first, or with a C together, these are the first 4 notes at the beginning of this sonata. But it's written for the natural trumpet in C. G minor on the natural trumpet in C means you have to use that 7th overtone, which everyone says the natural trumpet is out of tune, but it's not out of tune in G minor. As a matter of fact, it slots in there beautifully. Now, I've been presenting and playing this instrument and cracking notes and whatever. It's possible to play this instrument beautifully without any mistakes. It's just a matter of practice. And also the fact that you have to understand that you also have to play pieces that are properly written for the instrument and play it with hand reflection. To be able to play that high, what is the 9th, 11th overtone, that F sharp in tune. And that's how you can do it, by just taking the 12th overtone and taking it down, that G down to an F sharp, using hand reflection. I actually shortened the 12th overtone to make it the 11th overtone in F sharp. If I didn't, I'd have to somehow force the note up, either by raising my tongue or somehow forcing the note around, but it's never going to sound like it just sounded before when I played it with hand reflection. So this whole idea of using huge mouthpieces with a natural trumpet and forcing notes around to play in tune, that works for some music if you're playing in a trumpet ensemble or simple music where the harmony is very consonant. But as soon as you try to play more advanced harmonic music and have to make a differentiation between an F sharp and an F to really have it sound good, or even a G flat and an F sharp, which are 2 different frequencies, then you need to control the instrument much more. And therefore you have to start to use your head. There's a section in this same piece, an allegro, starts on B flat, that's a G. Now, now I'm supposed to be playing in B flat major, which is the parallel, the German call it parallel tonart, or parallel key to G minor. Both have 2 flats. B flat major, G minor. The idea is to be able to use and be able to play the instrument intelligently, sensitively, and apply the instrument in a way to make the natural resonance and overtones work for you and not against you. So the study and the development of this kind of playing, coming up from Italy, going over Vienna, and I don't know, perhaps even Esterházy, but certainly to Bohemia, where Wewanowski was working as a court musician in Kömeritz at the time. His predecessor was Heinrich Ignaz Franz Bieber before he went to Salzburg and Vienna to be a composer there and organist and a player. Mr. Wewanowski knew about this, and he was also Pavel Wewanowski was also a singer and a conductor and a composer, and he played the trumpet, so he understood this. So I think I'm going to wait a while to really be able to play this instrument even more proficiently. But I'm interested in developing a collegium of musicians that are also interested in learning how to play this piece in a group, especially for the works of Bach. Now, I have some Bach here, but I should really first of all ask Mike, how much time do we have left in this 3 minutes, he says. So I think I'll wait until I have a little bit more time before I play some other pieces, especially from Bach on this instrument. But before doing that, I should really, to not waste any time here, explain that I've had this instrument reproduced that was originally handmade by Mr. Poggensayer, reproduced by Mr. Christopher Cornford. Can you hold that for me, please, Sean? In 3 extra different versions. Basically, this is the center part of the instrument. And it's also the center part of this instrument if I take off the first crooks and the bell. And I can add different bells to it and be able to play this instrument in its original form with hand reflection just by adding extra crooks going along here. And I have now 3 of these instruments that I could offer, on permanent loan or loan to students or colleagues who are interested in playing Bach on the original Bach Tromba da Caccia, like Gottfried Reiche played. I'm not trying to force the thing around on a natural trumpet that's straight out. Because among this fact that Gottfried Reiche played this instrument is also the fact that he wasn't allowed to play the straight trumpet because he never did military service for the Holy Roman Empire of German nations. And therefore, he was forbidden by law to play the straight trumpet. And this should be a fact that people should really consider when they are trying to play Bach on a straight trumpet, with or without tempering holes, which is another theme that I'd like to get to later. But I think the time is probably up, and I think that it will be in the next YouTube that I discuss this a little bit more completely. Thank you.